We're gonna just do this, even though I feel like I'm ill-prepared. Okay, here we go. Hello, welcome to 90% Knitting. This is episode 319. I'm Lisa, also known as Fibreshare, and today's Monday, the 20th. No, it's the 19th. If it was the 20th, it would be my anniversary. If it was the 18th, it would be my daughter's birthday, but today is the 19th. It's sandwiched right in between those two things. Tomorrow is our anniversary. 3 years. So, how are ya? It's been an actual week since I recorded last. That's kind of amazing considering the way things have been going lately. But I have a lot to show you, and I thought if I let this go much longer, it's going to be a nightmare. Because last week, I know, it was super long last week. So I wanted to avoid another super long one, and I finished a whole bunch of things this morning. And I was looking at the POW, and I'm like, I really just should record now. It wasn't my original plan to do that today, and it's almost 3 o'clock in the afternoon, which is why I'm sitting here. I try to record in the mornings, but I'm in the house because it's super hot out in the porch room. I'm actually hot, and I'm gonna clip my hair up because it's hot on the back of my neck. Okay, there we go. Anyway, I would love to be in a room with air conditioning, but then you wouldn't be able to hear me, and that would be annoying. So best case scenario I've got here is my dining room table. All right, let's start with the knitting, because like I said, there's a lot. Let me run down what we're going to talk about today. Knitting, lots and lots of knitting. I've got a little bit of spinning. I've got some on-deck stuff. I don't really have any other crafty stuff this week other than spinning. And that I do have one thing I'm going to show you, but for the most part, it's just been knitting. I do have some on-deck stuff that will be sewing related that I'll talk about. I don't have any new things, but I do want to address that a little bit. We will talk just a touch about the That's Your Cue cowl, which is going on right now in the Fibreshare Dye Works group. And then I do have a little bit of 10% and a little bit of shop news. But honestly, the most of this podcast is going to be the crafting, specifically the knitting. So, it doesn't always happen that way, but that's how it is today. Let's start with the finished objects, shall we? Because that's what I like to start with. My first finished object you've been seeing for at least 11 months and 1 day, because that's how long these took to finish. My husband's pair of the Matchy motorcycle socks is finished. You saw, if these look familiar, it's because I finished my pair of the same exact yarn, and I showed it to you last week. And his I just finished this morning. The only difference between the two are his cuffs are much longer, as you can see. They're like hardly on the sock blockers. And I did a 2x2 ribbed cuff on his and instep, and mine were stockinette. He likes a ribbed cuff because it stays up better on his leg, and he likes super long cuffs. He's tried on one of these, and he said it fits really well, and he really liked the height. So I think this might be my new go-to cuff length for him, which is fine. It's not that big of a deal, but he really liked them. So they're both done now. The yarn, the self-patterning yarn, is West Yorkshire Spinners in their signature 4-ply in one of the bird colorways. It's the Goldfinch Colorway. And then, as I've told you multiple times now, I did the contrasting heels and cuffs and toes. The cuffs and the toes are out of Cayenne, and the heels were Butterscotch. And it's all West Yorkshire Spinners yarn, the 4-ply. If you want the total details and colorway numbers and stuff like that, check out my project page on Ravelry. But these are done. And you may remember, if you have been watching for about a year, this was my project that I took away with us when we did our motorcycle trip out west last fall. I had this grand plan that I was going to knit 2 pairs of socks while we were away. And I'm not like, this isn't like riding in a car where I can be knitting. I was driving my own motorcycle. I don't know what kind of time I thought I was going to have in the evenings, but it didn't happen. I got a little bit of one of his socks done and a little bit of one of my socks done, and that's where they sat for most of this past year because I was so frustrated by the fact that I didn't get much done on that trip. But I really banged the rest of them out over the past couple of months, and I'm very happy with them, and he will be happy with knowing that these are done too. Even though he's been watching me work on these now for the past I don't know how many weeks, I may just wrap them up and give them to him tomorrow as a really cheater kind of anniversary gift. Because why not? You know? He's getting other things too. Although, well, anyway, never mind. Oh, that almost sounded weird and dirty. Possibly. It wasn't. It wasn't meant to be. Maybe it didn't, and now I just made it sound like that. Holy cow, I should stop. I'm not going to stop because I'm not starting this over again. I'm doing this in one shot today. All right, next up, something you saw last week that was 99% finished, and it's now that last percent finished, and it's my shift cowl, the shift. It's huge, folks. Oh my goodness. It's now blocked, has all its ends woven in, and I mattress stitched the seam here in the back. Today, it's done. I've seen these cowls on people before. I've never seen one as large as mine ended up. Oh, this is going to be really warm, but I want you to see it. So, see how far back I can go. Yeah, this is amazing. It's so soft and squishy. Okay, so again, the yarn that I used, let's see, where's my seam? There it is. All right. The yarn that I used was Stonehedge Fiber Mills. These are the crazy skeins. I didn't use all of any 3 of the skeins, but I used 3 skeins to make this. So, yeah, I love it. It's so soft. I love the colors. It really is pretty crazy. Yes, it really did get sort of boring to knit towards the end because you're just sort of doing the same thing over and over and over. But again, it was the colors in this one from those crazy skeins that really kept me going, and it was a lot of fun. So I'm really glad to have it done. I think it will definitely be something I can wear a lot. It'll be great tucked inside the front of a coat. It'll definitely keep me warm. So I'm happy to have this finished. I'm also now happy to have it off my body because that was really hot. What else can I tell you about it? Not much. I did it on a US 5 needles, which I believe is what the pattern called for. It's just so squishy. Oh my gosh. The squishiest. It's an Andrea Mowry pattern. If I didn't say that already, sorry. That's it. So the shift cowl is finished. I don't have any plans in the near future to knit any of her other shift patterns, but I'm glad I did that one. I'm glad I have the finished object. I didn't enjoy the knitting all the time, but I enjoyed working with that yarn. It was a lot of fun. Both the hand of the yarn and the colors were a lot of fun. And I think, as I said last week, I kind of ended up just going rogue on the pattern, and I used the same motifs that she has in the pattern, but I kind of did them my own way towards the end because I wasn't paying attention to the pattern by the end. I know, you're shocked. All right, moving on. Another thing that I didn't even have on the needles, but it was my on-deck project last week, was the Hatdana by Bayron Handmades, who is Denise Bayron. I cast it on and I finished it, so I'm going to show that to you. Isn't it cute? Oh my gosh, I love it. It was so much fun to knit. So this is basically, it's meant to be worn either as sort of like a kerchief kind of hat. So if you have long hair, you can have your hair down the back, but it's still covering most of your head. Or you can flip it around and you can wear it in the front as a bandana, hence a Hatdana. Okay, because I like you guys, I'm going to show you what it looks like on. I can never remember. Okay, I'll put it on one way and see which way I can wear it. Okay, so this is the hat way. Isn't that cute? I just love it. And I love this purple. This yarn was from my Fibreshare partner. It was some Donegal. I don't remember. I don't have the tag with me, but it was some some wool from Ireland. She had brought back from Ireland at one point. And it's a tweed. It's just so pretty, and I love the purple. My hair's purple is a little faded right now, but anyway. So there it is. I don't know that I can really show you. Maybe you can see it. The back. All right, so now let me see if I can get it on. I think I have to put it on. I really have to think about it. I guess it's this way. Here. To get it on all the right configurations. Oh my gosh, this is so hot right now. The yarn is very nice, but it is a little bit more on the prickly side than the other yarn I had. But that's okay. It'll be nice in the winter. So this is how you wear it if you want to wear it bandana style. And you can see my tassels. The pattern calls for 3 small tassels. I went rogue, again, on the tassels, and I did this one big tassel and these 2 slightly smaller tassels, but there's nothing tiny about these tassels, and I think they're probably even different tassels than the pattern calls for. I don't know, I didn't read. I just did my own thing for the tassels. I did not, okay, I gotta take these off. I'm sorry, guys. Wow, that was warm. All right, I'm gonna be fixing that hair in just a minute. But anyway, so I don't think I did any changes, modifications to the pattern other than the way I did my tassels. But overall, I'm really happy with it. I think it was a fun project. And she has a lot of other really neat patterns out. I actually own a couple of her other patterns that I hope to work on coming up. But this one was just a lot of fun, and it was the perfect pattern for this yarn. It was just, I love it when that happens. Match made in heaven, pattern and yarn, and I love the result. It was excellent. So that is my 3rd finished object. I have a 4th finished object, another one that you haven't seen because it was not cast on last week. Matter of fact, it wasn't even cast on yesterday. I cast it on this morning and finished it. And it's a snake. It's the Curly Snake pattern by Susan B. Anthony. Oh shoot, I did not bring the book in here. I have the book. What's the book called? Here, I can at least tell you what the book is called. Curly Snake, where are you? It is from the Itty Bitty Toys book by Susan B. Anthony. I believe I purchased that book specifically to make the snake pattern. This pattern has been in my queue for a long time. Oh, I will say the Hatdana and the snake are both things that I was knitting for the That's Your Cue cowl that we're doing in the Fiber and Dye Works group. Just thought I'd say that. Anyway, this has been in my queue for quite a while. And I was scrolling through my queue the other day and I saw it. I'm like, oh, I forgot about that. And so I think I started trying to make this. I started trying to make a snake a long time ago using some Noro yarn, and I was just winging it because I didn't have a pattern, and it didn't turn out well, and I ripped it out. So I think that was when I bought the book. So I have the book. It's been on my shelf. I've never knit anything out of it. So I thought tomorrow is our anniversary. I don't actually, aside from the socks, I don't have my husband's gift because the gift I was going to get him was something I needed to get at our farmer's market, which I did not get to go to on Saturday, which I'll talk about later. And I'm probably not going to get to go to it this Saturday. So he's going to have a very belated anniversary gift. It's a certain type of plant this one place sells. It's the only place I've ever seen these plants, and I think he'd think it was really cool. But anyway, he likes anything nature and animals and everything, so I thought he would really get a kick out of this. So I knit him a little curly snake. It's a really clever little design. I would say I'm 95% happy with it. I'm not thrilled with these increases that happen here at the tail. If I did this again, and I could see myself making the snake again, I think if I made this again, I would do these increases differently because she does the increases pretty much all in one round, this first one. I think I would space them out over a couple of different rounds, 2 or 3 rounds. Same here with the second round of increases. And that's the only increases you do until you get up here to the head. So other than that, it's just a whole lot of knitting in the round over like 44 stitches, I think it was, for the whole body of the snake. And you stuff the snake as you go. Like every few inches you stop and you stuff it. I stuffed it using waste from that BFL Gotland fleece that I was spinning last summer. I'd started stuffing it in another thing, but I was just kind of leaving that item out there to stuff as I had more waste. But I needed stuffing for this, so I just got that item and I pulled the stuffing out of it and stuffed the snake with it, and it worked just fine. So he probably smells sheepy. I should probably not keep him out here where the cats are. But anyway, here's our cute little snake. So the only things I changed on this, actually, were... What did I change? Oh, I changed the tongue. Originally, I wasn't even going to bother putting a tongue on it because I kind of liked what he looked like without it. So instead, I put little lips. Do you see he has little red lips there? I stitched little lips on. I did the eyes too. She has just little kind of dashes as eyes. I did these kind of bulbous round eyes because I didn't want him to be a poisonous snake. And they always say that usually poisonous snakes have those kind of cat-like, slit-like eyes, whereas usually non-poisonous snakes have round eyes, although there are exceptions to that. So don't go out poking at round-eyed snakes. They'll get you. Anyway, so I did the eyes. And then I did the lips, and then as I did the lips, I had like one piece of string hanging out, and it kind of looked like a tongue. I'm like, oh, that kind of does look cute. The way she has you do the tongue, though, is with I-cord, and I was not going to do itty-bitty little I-cord. There was just, no, I just wasn't doing that. So, since I've gone on my crochet kick, I decided to crochet the tongue, and that's what I did. I totally winged it though. Like I crocheted a little chain and then I just did a weird kind of, I don't know what I did. I don't even know if it's a legit thing in crochet that I branched it off into two like that. And I couldn't even begin to describe to you what I did, to tell you the truth. But it worked. And so it's a tongue. And there we go. Tongue. What else? Oh, the other thing I did differently than the pattern. So the way you get this curl is through a string that you feed up through the body of the snake. Actually, not through the body of the snake. You feed it, you do like a running stitch along the one side of the snake. And the way she had it written, it was like you were supposed to close up the tail where you started and weave that end in, and then later you were supposed to attach this string down here somehow and do that running stitch up to the, before the head so you could cinch it up into a curl. But I thought, why not just make your tail long enough that you can weave that up through there? So that's what I did, and it worked fine. So those are my only two things that I changed. The way I did the tongue and how I cinched it up. I did end up tacking it down though here so he stays in the curl, because otherwise I don't know that he would have really stayed curled up. So anyway, he's cute. I took a bunch of really goofy pictures. They're on the project page now, and I posted them to Instagram too. I was just having a lot of fun with them. If I think about it, I'll try to put them in here. Moving on. Another cast on that I have. I don't have the pattern printed out because my printer was being a jerk this week. But I cast something on in this yarn, and I totally forgot to show you this yarn last week. Oh, that's a really good color representation of it though. Look how pretty. Look at those autumny colors. Isn't it beautiful? This is a skein of yarn I got at the Gypsy Stardust show that I vended at like a week or so ago. This is from Carlene, who has a farm called the prAiry, and she has yarn spun out of her sheep, her fleeces. And this is some Leicester Longwood from one of her sheep. I can't remember. The labels always have the sheep's name on them. I don't remember which sheep this was. At any rate, she dyes them. She does dye it herself. She doesn't really. I don't think she has repeatable colorways. And the label just said it was dyed with, you know, fall colors being the inspiration, and I think it's really spot on. I just love it. So it was sitting here. I forgot to show it to you when I recorded last week, but it was sitting here and I had to do something with it. I just needed to cast this on. You know how that is, right? So I did. I cast on a shawl. Excuse me. This is the Esker Scarf. It's actually called, I think it's called the Esker Scarf, not the Esker Shawl, by Jen May, who's Cthulhu Loves Me. And I think her alter ego is also Tentacularly on Instagram. I think she goes by both of those names. I think one is a design name, one is just her regular username. At any rate, this is a pattern. It's free pattern on Ravelry, and this has also been in my queue for quite a while. So this is another that's your queue cowl project for me. And it's going to be a very small scarf because there's only, I forget how many yards are in here, maybe 200, I don't know. It's going to be small. And that's fine because I'm envisioning it as something, again, that I can wrap around my neck bandana style and have, you know, just in the front of a sweater in the fall or inside a jacket. I have a red coat that I wear in the winter. This will look so nice. But anyway, I just had to cast on something, and this was the pattern that I found that seemed like it would be good, and I love it. It has, I don't know how well you can see it in this light, but, oh, there you go. The slit stitch motif going there. I don't have the, again, I don't have the pattern printed out, so I can't really read it to you, but Esker is a word for something having to do with, I think, like the strata of rocks. I could be wrong. Jen, if you're listening, I'm sorry if I got that incorrect. But that's what that is meant to replicate or represent. So I'm happy with it. I think it's a lot of fun, and I just love the colors. And Leicester Longwood is not a super, super soft wool, but I've worked with it before, and compared to others that I have worked with, this is quite nice. This doesn't have quite the prickle factor. Although, again, I'm really hot right now, so this is probably not the best time to be rubbing this on my body. So this is on US 6 needles. You know, I've had so many projects coming and going. I'm missing some of my interchangeables, my Licca interchangeable needles. I don't know where some of them are. They're not, well, one of them I know is in an active project that I haven't worked on for a while, my jukebox cardi. But other than that, I have two others I think that are missing, and I can't find them, and I need to, because that was the reason why I was really hesitant about getting interchangeable sets, because I was so afraid I would just lose tips. And I don't want to start having to buy replacement tips, because that's silly. So anyway, that's neither here nor there, but that's what's in that, that project, my Licca US 6 needles. So, all right. What else? Oh, one other cast on. Yes, one other. And this also is that's your Q cowl cast on, and that is the Soldotna. I know you have seen the Soldotna. I'm not saying that right. Soldotna, not soldat. Whatever I said before. Soldotna by Boylan Knitworks, who is Jennifer Steingass. Is that correct? Muffin, what you doing under there? My dog's having a little fit under there. I don't know what's going on. Anyway, so this is one of the pages that shows the sweater. I'm sure you've seen it like a million other places, but I've had it in my queue for a while. I was very hesitant about it because color work in DK weight yarn just seemed like a bad idea. The fact that it's also a cropped pullover seemed like a bad idea. I am going to probably lengthen it some, but I've seen so many beautiful versions of this sweater, I just had to make it. And it helped that I had the perfect yarn sitting in my yarn room. I've been going through a lot of inventory, you know, from the shop and from my show inventory and everything, and I'm discontinuing carrying certain things, and one of the things I'm not going to be carrying anymore at shows or in the shop after the ones that are in the shop now are gone are the Caramia cowl kits that I had. Caramia is a beautiful color work cowl designed by Sarah Jordan, and she designed that with my yarn. I dyed up 2 different kits for it in 2 different color combinations. They've been wonderful. I've taken them to shows for well over a year. They've always sold really well, but I like to rotate things out, and I feel like it's time to rotate this one out. So I have a handful of kits left if you're interested in that in the shop, but I had enough yarn from some of the kits that I was taking out that I decided to steal the yarn from them and use them for the soldotna. So that is what I'm using. So I'm going to show you my colors first. So my color A is this color, which is a variegated. It's called Crossy. And then my color B is this color, which is my sand colorway. If I hold it down here, you kind of get the sunlight. I was a little concerned that there wasn't going to be enough contrast there, but I think where these two fall, there's only a few rows where these fall together, that this is a little bit obscured by it melding with this, but after that it looks fine, so I'm good with it. That's my second color. My third color, my color C, is the other variegated color I did for those kits, which is Thalassa. It's a really pretty teal, blue-green color. And then the last one is silver gray. So those are my 4 colors. And I cast this on the other day, I think on Saturday. I was not feeling good on Saturday at all. And so I was sort of just laying low most of the day. And so I think it was Saturday I cast this on. And I love it. I'm having so much fun knitting with this yarn. This is my, by the way, I didn't mention the yarn base, my Beguiled base, which is DK weight, but it's got stellina in it, so it's got that little bit of sparkle. I think it's going to be so much fun in this sweater. So I've actually, have I knit anything out of my Beguiled besides sample, like swatches? I don't know. I feel like maybe I did like 1 hat or something out of it. Did I? Yes. Actually, I think I've made a couple of hats out of it because I made a hat for my daughter out of it. Okay, so anyway, I love it. And this is going to be hard to show you because it is scrunched up on a 16-inch needle right now. But, oh geez, there's lots of ends hanging here. So here's how it looks so far. This is the neckline, and then here is obviously the start of the color work. So you can see that sand color here, and you can see it really well between the greenish blue. On the camera, you can actually see it pretty decently between the other color too. It's just there's some light areas in that where it's not quite as, it doesn't pop quite as much. I think once it's done though, I think you'll be able to see it, but I don't believe there's any place else. Oh no, that's not true. There is another place in the pattern where those 2 colors are together a lot. I may end up switching things up just to make it work a little bit better. I haven't decided, but at any rate, I'm really happy with how this is coming out. So you've got the neckline. There are short rows in the back, which I did, and then you go into the color work, and it's a lot of fun. I'm really hoping to get this knit through, or knit up and finished before I go to the New Jersey Fiber Festival at the beginning of September. I can totally understand why people get these knit up so quickly though, because it's very addictive and that's all I kind of want to sit and knit, but I can't because obviously I was finishing other things, but yeah, a lot of fun. So that's my soldotna. I did the ribbing on 3s, US 3s, which I think is what it called for. If not, maybe I just went down 1 needle size. The regular stockinette I'm doing on 5s, I went up to a 6 for the color work, just because I'm trying to keep from getting puckering. I'm pretty sure the pattern called for 3s and 5s though. So, oh, you know what I didn't tell you, and I'm going to back up here for a minute, the yarn that I used for the snake. And I thought about this because that's a DK yarn, and this is also supposedly a DK weight yarn. This is some Indulgence 6-ply with silk. I have never heard of this yarn before. I picked this up at Stitches Midwest. I think I told you last week the booth right next to me was a local yarn shop that was going out of business, and so she brought in all of her stock and was just doing a clearance booth. And like the last day I kind of went in and saw what there was still left. And there were a few skeins of this yarn, and I picked them up. I mean, it's a 6-ply, so I knew it wasn't fingering weight. I figured, okay, it's probably a sport weight. When I put it into Ravelry though, it's calling it a DK. Based on yards per gram, it's not. I don't think it is. It's a heavy sport, but I would not consider this a DK weight. I didn't feel like it knit up like a DK anyway. That's my own personal opinion. But yeah, it's an interesting yarn. It was very nice to work with. It's 55% merino, 25% polyamide, 20% silk. It is superwash as far as I know. I think. I don't know. Not like I'm going to be washing the snake, but I thought I read somewhere that it was superwash. That's everything knitting wise on deck. My only new project I'm planning to cast on is another pair of socks, and I'm going to be casting it on out of this, which is that yarn that I spun for socks this year using the Opulence fiber from the Classy Squid. It's a 3-ply, a traditional 3-ply, and I finally soaked it. I think before I soaked it, it had about 500 yards. It did shrink up. It's down to around 440 yards, I would say, but still plenty of yarn for a pair of socks. I haven't decided what I'm going to do. I kind of want to do something other than just a plain vanilla pair of socks. I'm thinking maybe monkey socks. I did monkeys many, many years ago. Monkey sock is the pattern by Cookie A. And there is a no purl monkey version out as well. I think I'd just do the regular one though, because I really like that. I knit it. I don't remember the yarn I used at the time. I mean, this was a long time ago. It turned out that it was not super wash, and I didn't know that, and so you can guess what happened when I washed them. That was sad. But it was actually sort of similar colors, so that's why I think maybe it'd be fun to do monkeys again out of a similar colored yarn. We'll see. That's my only project that I'm planning to cast on, though. I have enough other things on the go. I really want to work on the Soldatna, and I want to do that Esker Scarf, and I've got spinning. And speaking of spinning, I did do another drop spindle's worth of the cuttlefish bats, also from the Classy Squid, because apparently that's all I spin anymore is Classy Squid fiber. So, yeah, I have to wind that onto the bobbin that I'll be using to ply it with. And I have another one, another shaft started. The whirl is obviously on the other shaft right now. And I am in the middle of plying, I'm looking out there because that's where my wheels are. I am in the middle of plying my fiber exchange and spin along fiber singles with that blue. So hopefully by the next time I record that, I'll be finished. It just takes a long time. Like I told you, that first skein took 5 days for me to get it done. So, what else? My other on deck thing is not knitting or spinning related, it's sewing. And it is sort of related to my Soldatna, because even though I see really cute versions of people wearing it like over dresses and things like that, I'm not a big dress wearer. Matter of fact, I hardly ever wear dresses. But I thought it could look really cute over a tunic, and I do like tunic style tops. So I had in my mind, of course, a vision for the exact kind of tunic I wanted. Do you think I could find that anywhere? No, of course not. But well, I could make myself one. Could I find the exact pattern for it? No, I could not. I know they exist because I've seen them. This is my problem when I go to buy patterns. Like, I don't pay attention close enough, apparently, to when people on other podcasts are talking about where they get their patterns from, like what indie designers, because when I go to look for things, I can't think of them. I can think of one or two, but not all of them. So I ended up ordering 3 McCall's patterns from Amazon. I found them on Pinterest, but then I ordered them through Amazon because that was the only place I could find them in stock in the size range that I needed. So, and yes, I ordered 3 different tunic patterns, because why just buy one? I'm gonna make a muslin, literally a muslin, because I bought like major yardage of muslin fabric several months ago. I forget where I was that I saw it. It was there. It was super cheap. I'm like, I'm just gonna buy some of this, you know, just to try to get a good pattern sized for me. And so if I can do that, I could see myself making several tunics. we'll see how that goes. Stay tuned. But I would love to make a tunic that I can wear underneath this soldotino, because that will be definitely more my style than putting it on over a dress or just wearing it and having it be a shorter sweater. That's not comfortable for me at all. I don't like that. So we'll see. Stay tuned. Okay, new things. Basically, I have no new things. But I was going to let you know, like, Rhinebeck is coming up. I'll be at Needles Up because I'm vending there. I'm vending at this New Jersey show. And I'm thinking about going to Vogue Knitting Live in Columbus in November. I've never been to a Vogue Knitting Live event. The closest one to me has always been New York in January. I have no desire to go to that show. It makes me anxious even thinking about it with New York and the number of people and the travel to get there, and it's not my thing. But Columbus seems completely doable. Columbus is like a 4-hour drive for me. I can go there, I can get a hotel, I could go, and I'm looking at classes. That's another thing. I never get to take classes anywhere. I'm not always a big class person anyway, but there's several classes that I've been looking at that I thought, oh, this would be really fun. So I think I'm going to go. I'm not sure if I'll go for the whole weekend. I may just go Friday and Saturday, or I might like drive out Thursday night, because there's one of the classes I'm looking at starts at like 9 a.m. Friday. That could be a really early morning if I drove out Friday morning. So I would do a class Friday morning, Friday afternoon, Saturday morning, and then just have Saturday afternoon to go to the marketplace, which is probably plenty. And that was kind of where I was going with this. I'm kind of holding off ordering any new things or buying any new things for now, just because these fall shows are coming up, these fall events, and I think I need to just save my pennies for a little bit. The other thing I'm saving my pennies for is I'm really seriously considering buying an e-spinner, although I'm also seriously considering selling my Sidekick, my wheel. I've had it, I think I purchased it in late 2016, I want to say, maybe. I don't know, I'd have to look that up. I've had it for a while, and there's nothing wrong with it. Like, it's a perfectly functional wheel. I bought it specifically, though, because it's a travel wheel, so it folds up and it's easy to transport. And that was great because at the time I was going to a lot of like not festivals, but like retreats and things where I would take my wheel. I don't really do that very much anymore, and if I do, I have no problem taking my traveler or just taking a drop spindle. But I mainly use my Sidekick for plying because I do have the jumbo flyer and the big bobbins for it. So like 95% of the time, that's what's on that wheel. I really do not enjoy the experience of spinning on that wheel. Now, there's nothing wrong with it. It's just a personal preference thing. I love my Traveler. My Traveler is like my perfect wheel. I love it. I feel like the double drive gives me a lot of adjustability and flexibility that I don't have with the Sidekick that only has Scotch tension. I know there are some people who feel the exact opposite, so it's totally a personal preference thing. However, I don't love my Sidekick the way I love my Traveler, and I think since I just use it for plying for the most part, I could do that with an e-spinner and be just as happy. Plus, an e-spinner is also transportable, right? Just need to make sure you have electric somewhere. So I'm seriously considering that. I've just started the process of like shopping online, or not shopping, but like doing research. If you have any feedback on an e-spinner, like if you have one that you really love, tell me about it. Tell me what you love about it and why you chose that over some other model. That would be great. If you're in the market for a Sidekick, hit me up, because especially if you'd be going to Rhinebeck. If you're going to be at Rhinebeck, that would be awesome, because I'll just bring it with me. I'm in the middle of 2 spinning projects on it right now, so obviously I'm not ready to like ship it out to somebody right now. I'd prefer to not have to ship it. So if you're local to me, like within an hour or two, and we could meet somewhere, that would be okay. But if you're going to be at Rhinebeck and you would be interested in the wheel, I've got a ton of bobbins. I've got the jumbo flyer assembly, and at least 2 bobbins. I keep thinking I have a third, but I don't think I do. I've looked. I don't have the third. It came with 2, and that's what I think I have. So yeah, it's got a whole bunch of stuff. It's wonderful. It works fine. I've kept it up. I've done maintenance and cleaned it. It's wonderful. It's just not, I don't think it's the wheel for me that I'm meant to have at this point in time. So anyway, that's my other thought as far as where my pennies might be going sometime in the not too distant future. Okay, moving on to the That's Your Cue cowl. It is going on. Obviously, I've got multiple projects that I did for it. I'm having fun watching what you're knitting from your cue. That's been a lot of fun. Check the link or check the thread in the Fibreshare Dye Works group on Ravelry. Everything's there. I'm going to be drawing a prize winner, a random prize winner from Instagram for using the hashtag That's Your Cue Cal, KCAL, soon, because I haven't done one of those yet. That is running through October 18th. All your projects have to have started on or after August 1st, though, for this one. So, but it can be any yarn. It does not have to be Fibreshare Dye Works yarn. Any yarn, any project, as long as it was in your queue prior to August 1st. Oh, that's the other thing I want to mention. I know I have made this so confusing about leave it in your queue. Oh, no, you don't have to leave it in your queue. Oh, it'll automatically tell you when you queued it on your project page. Here's the deal. I think I finally got this figured out thanks to a lot of other people telling me. When you start a project from your queue, you click Start Project. A box pops up and it says Delete from my queue, or delete this pattern from my queue. It's automatically checked. If you leave it checked, it will delete the pattern from your queue, but it will put a note on your project page saying when that pattern was originally queued. So if that's the case, you're golden. You're good to go. If you uncheck that box, though, and it doesn't happen that way, and then you later delete it, it will not show up with that note on your project page, so I won't have any way of knowing when you originally queued that pattern. I don't know what to tell you. The best bet, I would say, is to just leave all your patterns in your queue. I know that's the safest way, but you can do it the other way, too. I'm going to try to be really realistic about this because it has been confusing, and honestly I've gotten mixed results when I've tried different ways of doing it. So, but that's how I think it works. If you leave the box checked and it deletes it automatically from your queue, it will show up on your project page. Okay, so I think that's it for 90%. 10%, I said last week I have just a lot of, catching up to do with house stuff around here, and I have been working on that. I had to go through a whole bunch of things in the office looking for a package of grommets, metal grommets. I knew I had this package. I knew exactly where it was when it was back at my house, in my office. Did I know where it was here? No. But I had to find it because my husband needed to use it for part of the project we were doing with the one camper. I tore through the office last week. I found it. It was in the very last bin I went through, the very bottom of it, of course. But that's where it was, and I found it. And then I left everything just scattered around the office because I was like, hooray, I won. So then I did have to go in there like a couple days later. I'm like, yeah, I really need to clean this up. So the office looks amazing right now. I organized a lot of stuff, but then I also organized a lot of stuff by like carrying it back into the yarn room. So now there's tons of stuff piled up all through the yarn room that also need to be organized. But I'm getting there. I'm making progress. Progress is good. So things are getting organized. Not so much cleaned, although I did do a good dusting job just out in this general area because cats, I was under the weather over the weekend. Saturday I woke up with one of those weird migraines I'm starting to get, which I know is hormonal related for this time of my life. If you have been down this peri-menopausal path before me, friends, and you came out on the other side to live to tell the tales, God bless you. And just, if you can, just remind me that it'll end eventually and it'll be okay because, dude, my body doesn't know whether it's going up or down sometimes. And I know this is maybe not what everybody wants to hear about, so I apologize if you're not into talking about this topic, but I'm going to keep it real because it's life. You know, I can go for a few months and not have a period. And, like, you get into that safe zone, like, maybe this is it. Maybe this is it. Maybe it's done. And then, no. It comes up and slaps you upside the head and it's like, ha, psych! And every time it does that, it comes with other weird, bizarre symptoms that I never in my life, whole life of having periods, had these symptoms. But now, these are the symptoms it's going to give me so that I don't even know it's coming. Like, if I would have known those were the symptoms to look for, great. But no, at this time of life, apparently it just does weird things. Like, gives you these strange migraines that you've never had before in your life. Or makes the front of your thighs hurt. Seriously? Like, what is that all about? I thought, what did I do? Like, I haven't done any weird exercises. Why do the front of my thighs hurt? And then it's like, oh, really? That's a thing? Okay. All right, I'm done. But, yeah. What else? More vacation planning. It's at the this is not fun stage right now. I hate vacation planning with my husband. I know that sounds harsh. I don't say I hate much of anything. I hate the process of planning vacations with my husband because he and I have such vastly different philosophies in planning a vacation. I'm more here's the general idea, and when we get there, we'll kind of loosey-goosey figure it out. And he's like, here's what we're going to do on Monday at 9 a.m., and then by noon we'll be doing this. And then at 1:45, yeah, that might be a teeny bit of an exaggeration, but only a teeny bit. Granted, we do have to make it to certain places in order to be able to camp, because apparently camping at late September in Canada is maybe iffy, and like not all places are open. So I do understand that that's a necessity, that we have to be able to camp, but still. We go through these planning sessions and I just sit here and I'm just like, and I'm not allowed to knit. Like, I'm not allowed to do anything except sit here with him and the maps while we're doing this. Like, he gets bent out of shape if I like sit here and knit, even though I'd be much more relaxed. It's crazy. Oh my gosh. But the vacations are amazing. We have such good vacations. It's just the process of planning them that is so painful. Okay. Shop news. I have a little bit of shop news for you. So I've been adding more show stock to the shop. I'm sorry, like the lighting changed all of a sudden. It's very weird. But anyway, let me show you some of the things that I have added to the shop. There are a whole bunch of things. There's a bunch of self-striping in there right now, I think. There is fiber. I added some fiber. I added, oh my goodness, some variegated speckled stuff. Some of the fluff, the mohair silk is in there. There's a whole bunch of stuff. It's all there. Check it out. Kits. Any kits that are in the shop right now are all ones that I am discontinuing. I won't be making any more of those kits. So if you want one, now's the time. The mini maximization shawls, those really big shawls that Sarah designed last year, the last of those sets are in there. All of the kits are at least 20 to 25% off. So some of them are even more. I would just love for you to get them in your possession and you can use them. They're beautiful kits. I had fun making them, but like I said, I need to rotate my kits out of occasionally, because whenever people go to shows, if they see the same kits all the time, you know, it's not that exciting. So anyway, kits on sale in the shop now. Okay, but other things that are in the shop right now. I did little mini sets of my ridgetop yarns. So there's 4 different collections, 2 in fingering weight and 2 in DK. So there is this color combination in DK. Some of these are repeatable colors, some of them are one-of-a-kind colors, but they're all listed what colors they are in the listing. The DK sets are $18, the fingering weight ones are $20. And this is the other DK set. And here's one of the fingering weight sets, which I just love this one. It's so polished. And the other one, nice cool colors. So those are in the shop right now. If you've been wanting to try out my ridgetop non-superwash, this is an excellent way to do it. You can do so many things. I mean, each of those mini sets is equivalent to a full skein of yarn. But you could do color work, you could do smaller projects, you could do stuffies, you could do felted things, because it's non-superwash, it will felt. Yeah, lots of options, so check those out. And then I've got sweater sets, the Serendipity sweater sets. These are each $95. You're getting 6 full skeins of either DK weight or worsted weight yarn. This is an excellent price. These are over 10% off the retail price of all of those skeins. The other thing I want to let you know is I know there's 6 skeins in here, so that's a lot of yardage, but if you are someone who needs more yardage, like you see one of these and you think, oh my gosh, I love that Serendipity skein that's in there, but that's not enough yardage for me to make a sweater, please email me. There's a contact link in the shop, on the website. Contact me, let me know which set it is that you're interested in. I will work with you to dye up extra skeins to go with that set so that you have as much yardage as you need. I'm not trying to be size inexclusive or exclude people who need larger sizes. This is just a reasonable amount that I can put in a kit to take to a show, but I am perfectly happy to work with you if you need more yardage than what's in here. So here's one of them. I have to show these to you in the package, in the plastic, but hopefully you'll be able to see the colors well enough. This one is a lot of peacocks, and I called it Peacock Goes Bump because this colorway is kind of a Halloween, like bump in the night kind of colorway. I mean, it's a Serendipity skein, but those were the colors that I based it on. Okay, so that's one of them. These are actually, all the ones I brought out here are DK. I think there's one worsted weight set left in the shop, and it's one that has been in there for a little while, so I didn't bother bringing that up. But that's my Bonafide base. The other one that's on Bonafide is not a color block gradient, but well, actually it is a color block gradient, I'm sorry. It's these fun tropical colors, and it's called Tropics. I just love those colors. So you get the one Serendipity skein, and then your 5 other skeins. You can do a fade, you can do stripes, you can do, oh, I just scratched myself with that plastic. You could do color blocks, you could do whatever you want. That's the fun. It's not meant for any one specific pattern. They're meant to be incorporated into whatever pattern you want to use. And it doesn't even have to be a sweater. It could be a giant shawl, it could be a small blanket, whatever you want. It could be a lot of hats for all, like you can be creative. I just have so much fun putting these sets together. So those 2 are on the Bonafide, and these are all superwash sweater sets. Bonafide DK. Now my mountain tweed DK, I have 3 sets left available. Come on, let me get this little piece of paper down. And this one is called Denim Dream. So there's your Serendipity skein. There's better pictures of all the Serendipity skeins in the shop, obviously. These 2 are excellent fall ones. This one I was so tempted to keep, but I can't. I do have one set aside for myself, though. Okay, so this one's called Pumpkinish, and it's also on the tweed base. Isn't that awesome? Look at the browns through the burnt oranges. Here, I'll show you the Serendipity skein from the back. Look at those colors. Oh my gosh, I love it so much. And then the last one is called Golden Eve. Yeah, the back is the better place to look at them. And these are like browns through golds, and your Serendipity skein is also in that color range. I love dyeing these. They're all one of a kind. They're so much fun. Okay, and then lastly, the other new thing that isn't in the shop yet, but I'm going to be putting them up really soon, is something new that I'm carrying. And I'm so excited to have these at shows because I get requests for these a lot. And it's total happenstance that I was even able to get these, is shawl pins, these beautiful wooden hand-carved shawl pins. Now, I have one that I use just for my personal collection that I use on shawls a lot in my display that looks like this. And inevitably, every show I go to, people are like, oh, do you sell those? And I'm like, no, I don't, sorry. Well, as it happens, I do sell them now because again, it was just sort of like one of those being in the right place at the right time kind of things. I came upon a source for beautiful hand-carved wooden shawl pins, and one of them is this design. Now, several of these come in different wood colors. There's a light one, there's a medium one, and then there's a really dark kind of ebony kind of color like this one. So this is a peacock. And I think I have this in all 3 colors, but this is the darker one. There is a tulip design. I call it a trident every once in a while. It sort of looks like both, but it's a tulip. I have that in a couple of the different woods. There's geckos. Isn't he cute? I love this gecko. I think I only have this one in the dark. There's this really pretty filigree, which I believe I have in a couple different colors. There's a flame. Also, I believe I have it in a couple different colors. Oh, it's another peacock. Same color. I have this daisy. I love this daisy. Oh my gosh. And I have that in those 2 colors. And then I only have a couple of these, but they're super pretty. And rather than being straight, they've got the curved pin to them. And they're kind of a feather with this curved shape to them. They're beautiful, and I love them as shawl pins because they're very lightweight, yet they're very substantial. So those are all going to be in the shop. They're super affordable. There's a couple designs that are $2, and there's a couple designs that are $10. The rest of them are $12. But seriously, that's a really good price, if I do say so myself. Because like I said, it was just happenstance that I was even able to get these, and I have a lot of them, and I know they'll do well at shows because, as I said, people are always asking me about them. The ones that I do have just in my personal collection, but now I'm so happy to have these that I can offer them to other people as well. So I think that's it. Again, my next show is the first weekend in September, the New Jersey Sheep and Fiber. I'm sorry, I know I'm saying that in the wrong words. I'll put it in the show notes correctly. And then Needles Up the Friday before Maryland or Rhinebeck. That's my last show of the year as far as I know, but that could always change if something else comes up. Anyway, it's been a great year. I can't wait to do these last 2 shows. I love seeing you guys at them. But until then, check the shop. There's a lot of things in the shop for you. And I will be hopefully doing a legit shop update with like newly dyed things soonish. I lost time last weekend. Like I said, I was down for the count with a weird migraine all day Saturday. Sunday I felt a little better, but I just still wasn't right. So I lost a lot of work time this weekend, which is never good. So I have to change my priorities around to do the things that I didn't get to do last weekend. But I do still really want to do a shop update soon with things especially for you guys. So stay tuned. As always, social media, Instagram, at FibreNymphDyeWorks.com, the FibreNymph Dye Works page on Facebook, the Ravelry group, the newsletter. You can sign up for the newsletter on the FibreNymphDyeWorks.com website if you're not already. Those are the best places to stay in touch in between podcasts. That's it. I'm going to go. I hope you are having a wonderful week. It's Monday. Mondays are awesome. I know. Not everybody thinks that, but I think Mondays are awesome. It's the first day of the week, full of potential. It can hopefully just get better, right? All right. I'll talk to you hopefully next week. See ya.